No, they can't give consent, you lunatic. No. 16-year-olds cannot.
How can they not? If the age of
no. Hear yourself, dude. You are
because
crazy,
if the
bro.
age of consent is 16, does that not mean that they can't give consent? So I'm from a small town in Wisconsin, and there was an issue a couple towns over where a trans individual was in the female's bathroom, and all the girls had a protest. They all walked out and they protested in town because they weren't comfortable with that person being in there. And I think they did the right thing, because if they're not comfortable with a man being in the women's restroom, like, they should have a say on that.
I have a question.
Okay.
First and foremost, I think that trans women are women. I'd like to clarify that. But would you ever vote for that trans woman to be president in consideration of the fact that she would go into the women's bathroom?
I would not know.
So if a man were to go into with somebody that you think is a man were to go into a private women's only space, you never vote for them to be president?
Why do you think I should?
Well, I don't think that you should. If a man, like an actual man, were to like go into a women's only space, thank you so much, honey. That you should ever vote for them to be president. And you agree to this?
I wouldn't say that necessarily, no.
Oh, but that's what you just said about the trans woman. Wait, so if a trans woman were to go into a private women's only space, you never vote for them because of it. But if a cis man were to go into a private women's only space, you'd vote for them regardless of it? Why?
Did I say that?
Yeah, that is what you said.
How so? Because
I asked
to
you,
me,
if
it
you ever
sounds
vote
like
for
you're
that trans
trying to
woman in
word
respect
it.
to the fact that she had gone into the women's restroom, and you very quickly said no. Right? Just to clarify, if there's somebody that you think is a man and they go into a private women's only space, like a woman's dressing room, and even just like look at the naked people in there, you would never vote for them to be president, right?
If a man is going into a woman's dressing room, why would I want them, like...
Okay, you're asking like a question. You're saying, why would I want them as president? Just give a definitive answer. Therefore, you never vote for them to be president or support them if they were to become president, right?
If there is a man that goes into the woman's restroom or woman's dressing room, no, I would not vote for them.
And you wouldn't support them, right?
Okay, you're going to turn this on to Trump.
Pageant,
correct?
It's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. Right, I want to make sure that
you're like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no... Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Okay. Not about that right now. I'm talking about these high school girls who are uncomfortable with another teenage boy being in the restroom with them.
So you're just not going to respond to that at all?
I was talking about this from the start. You were flipping it on the Trump.
Okay, fine. We could talk about that, but let's just clear this up real quick. You don't support Trump, right?
I don't support some of his actions, no.
But you said that you wouldn't support a man as president if they had done what Trump just admitted to doing.
You were talking about a man who was dressed up as a woman or wanted to be a woman.
Okay.
Has Trump ever claimed to do that?
And they just like barge into the dressing room to then sexually exploit the women and girls inside, like actually sexually exploit the women and girls inside, then you don't care. Then it's not enough.
In that interview, did he say that he sexually exploited those women?
Yeah, he described sexual exploitation. He said that he would abuse his position, power as the owner of the pageant to allow himself into the dressing room, and then he'd take advantage of the position of vulnerability that the women and girls inside of those spaces were in. Okay, they felt vulnerable enough to get naked, to take their clothes off and put new clothes on. In the furtherance of unconsensual sexual conduct, the unconsensual sexual conduct there would have been him looking at their naked body. So yes, he did sexually exploit them, indeed.
But you also did just say that they were comfortable enough for that to happen. Whereas these girls are not comfortable
enough to get naked in that space with the expectation that only women and girls were allowed inside. Not with Trump inside.
Don't you think in some sort of terms, though, that Trump would have said that, hey, since I am the owner, I might be going in there? Not saying that's right. Not saying that's right at all. Okay. But knowing... like that he is the owner.
So
don't
you're
you think
actually justifying it when it's Trump. what the hell? So when it's a trans woman trying to take a piss, it's the end of the world. But when it's Trump barging in there to literally look at the bodies of like women and girls.
I flat out said it wasn't right.
Trump perving on them is okay, but a trans woman trying to fucking piss, that's the end of the world.
No, I know. Like, this is crazy. This is so crazy. You just heard a clip of a man being like, yeah, I would barge in there and they'd all be naked and I'd look at their boobs and I guess I kind of got away with it and it's pretty funny. And you're like, nah, what if he actually told them first? Nah, what if he had their consent? Nah, what if they were okay with it? Well, first and foremost, underage girls can't consent, so when it fucking mattered, checkmate. And the point number two, the women at Miss USA didn't consent, even though they could have. Also, because that's what they told.
Can you check the age of consent in Wisconsin? Because you're saying if they're underage, they can't consent. But yeah.
What did you just say?
Just let him talk. Just let him talk real quick, Parker. Let him get like one more sentence out. Go ahead.
Because if the age of consent in Wisconsin is, can you check that quick? See what it is? Because I think it's 16.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that means that there are people who are, of age of consent.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know what you're trying to say.
So what if the age of consent was 14?
If the age of consent was 14, then there'd be more people being able to...
Like for instance, in the 80s, the age of consent in Georgia was 14 years old. And I mean, he owned these pageants in like the 80s and 90s. So if there's like 14 years old in there when he did this in Georgia, like it'd be fine.
I don't know what you're trying to get from, like, I'm talking about...
I'm just simply asking you a question. Like, it's true that the age of consent in Georgia legally was 14 in the 80s. So if he did this at a pageant he owned in the 80s in Georgia and they're 14, do you think that the 14-year-olds could give him consent for that?
Well, considering that the age of consent was 14 at the time, technically, yes, they could give consent. What are you...
Well, that's a new one.
You're asking off of a technicality, so yes.
Wow,
No,
this is...
Do you personally think they can consent? Not with like, if the law says this, would that then mean that you personally think they can consent?
Why does it matter what I think? I don't have the power.
Why the fuck can you? Why can you not answer that question? That's a crazy thing.
No, because why? Like, I'm not in control. I don't make the laws, so it's not my choice if they can consent.
Yeah,
or
we're saying if you were, would you say that?
Well, I wouldn't make the age of consent 14 because...
What would you make it?
18.
Okay, so then just because it says that the age of consent is 16 in that area does not mean that you think that those girls could have consented to Donald Trump barging into the changing rooms while they're naked. That's crazy.
Why are we bringing this back on Trump? I'm talking about high schoolers still. And you guys have to bring up Trump. You just pivoted back to that. We are just clarifying that you actually apply these circumstances, that you're willing to say that you don't support Trump given that he did this himself, and you're willing to defend it when it's Trump. So again, a trans woman doing this is the end of the world, literally just going into there to pee. But you're saying that again, Donald Trump can do this to on little girls and women, and you're saying that's totally okay. No, I told you from the start I don't agree with him doing that, but I'm saying, like, you also do have to think about the possibilities because it's not just Trump who's doing things like that.
Okay, I don't know, like, why I need to make this point clear. The age of consent in a state is completely irrelevant to if somebody can give consent. Do you agree?
Why didn't you say that from the start, though? You have to bring everything back to Trump because...
Wait. Do you agree?
Can you restate the question?
A state's age of consent is completely irrelevant to the question, can a person give consent?
Yes, I agree that, but that was not my...
So then why were you bringing up a state's age of consent?
Because I was trying to make a point, but then you brought everything back to Trump again, so I couldn't make my point.
What was the point?
I'm still trying to talk about these high school girls.
No, you said this in response to what Trump did. You brought up 16.
You brought up Trump.
And you brought up in response to point talking about the age of consent. What was the point? Why did you bring up... Like,
you brought up something about age of consent. I wouldn't have just brought it up. You had said something.
You brought that up, my friend.
Yes, but you had started it. I was going to make a point off of it. I can't remember now because you...
You don't remember the point?
Because you keep going off on Trump when I'm trying to talk about these high school students.
I think that you remember the point.
Actually, I do not. If you could restate it, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, we talked about how Donald Trump would sexually exploit women and girls.
But
at
I'm not
beauty
trying to
pageants by
talk
barging
about
into
Trump.
their dressing rooms.
I'm not trying to talk about
and then
Trump
the
right
first
now.
thing that you say in response is, well, technically, the age of consent's 14. And that's
That
what
was you.
said.
You
That's a
said the
question
age
that
of consent was 14.
That's a question that I asked you. If the age of consent were to be 14 in Georgia in the 80s, which it was, and he was to own pageants in the 80s in this state, would that have changed anything? It's what you were arguing, that it does change anything. I don't think it does at all. What does it change?
Are you sure that's what I was arguing? Because, I mean,
Well, that's what I'm asking.
again,
Right now. I'm trying to get you to tell us
trying
a point.
to get back to my main point.
Well, I think that you're
which
running
was
away.
about these
I think
girls
that
being
you're. I think
uncomfortable.
that you're. Quite frankly, I think that you're fucking running away right now. And if your main point wasn't why you support Trump, okay, then you came up here to argue point irrespective and irrelevant to the stream. So go ahead and answer the question, please. Why did you bring up legal age of consent being 16 in a state, and then you even said that, yeah, technically this point would apply to Georgia in the 80s when the age of consent was 14. Like, what was the point there?
Because you were talking about how these girls in the high school cannot give consent, but I was going to say how the age of consent is 16, so yes, some of the girls can give consent.
No, they can't give consent, you lunatic. Fuck no. 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 16-year-olds cannot give consent.
How can they not? If the age of
Do you fucking hear yourself, dude? You are
because
crazy,
if the
bro.
age of consent is 16, does that not mean that they can't give consent?
That does not mean that they can give consent. If the age of consent was, could a 12-year-old consent to sex?
Okay, genuine question.
Answer my question. If the legal age of consent was,
answer my question first, and then I will answer that question, because I'm confused. I'm confused then on the law. Because if the age of consent does not mean that that person can give consent, then what does it mean?
It means that sick people in society, like you and including you, think that they could give consent.
So when I couldn't give consent.
Yeah, I don't think that you could consent to sexual intercourse. No.
Why? Okay, can I ask why you don't think that?
Because I don't think that year-olds have cognitive function that is developed to a point of a demonstration of the level of rationality required to possess and informed consent surrounding what sex is and what it leads to in order to opt into engaging in it willingly.
Okay, so then do you think that age of consent should be brought up to 25? Because that's when your brain stops, like, growing in that sense.
Wait, I'm having a debate about age of consent right now?
I just asked if you wanted me to. No.
Like,
I asked if you thought.
I'm having a debate if you could fuck a year-old. What is this? You're sick, dude. Like, what the?
Did I ever
fuck?
say that I was going to fuck?
Oh my god! Not to know if you could fuck a year-old, dude. Whoa! What are we doing? Listen, I'm laughing at it not because it's funny, but more so as a very uncomfortable response to how insane this is. I don't want anybody watching to think that this is funny, okay? Because this is the product of the indoctrination into this culture of the normalization of P3-ophilia and of children in an attempt to permiss and or justify the actions of the people in the Epstein files, or B, the cover-up of the actions of the people in the Epstein files being perpetuated by not just our government, but the governments across the world. So no, I don't think that a 16-year-old can consent to sex. And you said, oh, so I couldn't consent when I was 16. No, you couldn't. Okay? Right? You couldn't. No. Listen, I understand that if you have like two 16-year-olds or like a relatively smaller age gap, that it's not something we look at and we like say, oh my God, they're each other. Okay? Because they have very similar levels of rational faculties. So we don't really use the word rape and rapists when we're talking about like two 16-year-olds, for instance, under like typical scenarios engaging in sex. Like we don't use that language. That in like relatively like small age gaps. But yeah, when we're talking about, you know, like Trump, who at the time was 50s, 60s, walking into the dressing rooms of the teens at Miss Teen USA who were as young as 15, that was absolutely without consent. And by the way, he left. I'm sorry. I'm just like still kind of wrapping my head around that. That's crazy. Let's go to move on to the next guest right now.
Well, he's the best president since Ronald Reagan.
Okay, that's some bullshit.
No, it's totally true.
Okay, well, I mean, that's not how the average American feels. You know, you're like the fourth Trump supporter in the last 3 hours. The reason why is because people are running away from MAGA at a speed I've never seen before. Because not only is Trump destroying our economy, okay, putting people out of work, 1.3 million layoffs last year, shutting companies down, most manufacturing bankruptcy since 2009 last year. But then we also have this massive scandal to do with the Epstein files and breaking the law to prevent the release. I mean, you know, now the DOJ is saying, oh, we have 3 million more documents, but you're never going to see them, even though the law requires them to release them. We see them.
He has
redacting
released
the names of the
the
co-conspirators
files.
and the. No, he hasn't. No. There's 3 million more
And
to go,
no,
and which
and
he's
he has
refusing
not
to
been
release.
charged with anything.
Yeah, just like the other co-conspirators in the Epstein files, right?
He was if he was there, it was undercover as
No. Answer my question here.
undercover agent.
Name one co-conspirator that has been charged in the Epstein case outside of Andrew.
I don't know of anybody that's been charged.
Okay,
I just know he hasn't been charged.
So Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell kind of acted alone.
No, Bill.
Oh, but they haven't been charged.
Clinton was there.
Oh, was Bill Clinton charged?
No, he hasn't.
Oh,
been
but I thought
charged.
you said obviously Trump is innocent because he hasn't been charged.
Well, to be guilty, you have to be charged.
Okay, but you just said that Bill Clinton was
You
guilty
have
without
to
being
have your
charged.
day in court.
You just said that Bill Clinton was guilty without being charged. Seems like
I'm just saying he is as guilty as Trump is.
Oh, but you said that Bill Clinton was there, therefore Trump was there?
Yeah, Prince Andrew was there.
Oh, no. You said that Bill Clinton is just as guilty as Trump, but you did say that Bill Clinton was there, therefore you think that Trump was there too, right?
Yeah, but Trump was undercover.
Oh, so he was undercover. Where was that in
And
the Epstein
Trump
files?
kicked him
One second.
out of
Wait,
Mar-a-Lago.
one second. Where's that in the Epstein files that Trump was undercover?
I just heard it.
Oh, it's not in the Epstein files?
No, they've been released.
Oh.
But that part
Oh.
hasn't been released to the public yet.
Oh, wait. So wait. So you're telling me that the Trump administration would release a letter to the public where Jeffrey Epstein is saying that Donald Trump likes him young just like himself, but they're not going to release a document that says that Donald Trump was an undercover FBI informant? No way. I don't buy it.
Yes, he was way undercover.
Really? According to whom?
According to the New York Times.
Oh, the New York
The
Times definitely hasn't said
AJC.
that. No, one moment. You said the New York
Sure.
Times. No. You said the New York Times. What's the name of the New York Times
Yeah, and
article
by
that
the
says that Trump was
way,
undercover?
my Cash App is in my bio.
Oh, grifty.
I don't
Stop the grift.
accept
Stop the grift.
food stamps.
Stop the grift. Stop the
But-
grift. My Venmo, my PayPal are my bio too. Grift to me, not him. But now answer the question
There-
seriously. What is the name of the New York Times article, okay, that says that Donald Trump was an undercover FBI informant for Epstein?
I'm just saying.
I just
heard
want to know the
this.
title of the article.
I don't have it. Like,
Oh, then how do you know
close
that?
by
So
or
how do you know that
anything.
they? How do you know that
I
they
just
made a
have it in
publication
my
on the subject
head.
matter? Okay, it seems like you have a lot of things in your head that aren't
but
necessarily true. So
to be honest with you, there are so many Trump haters out there. They're ready to just throw him under the bus, and people just call me a racist just because I'm white. And
Okay.
I support Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was accused of raping women that came out 30 years later, just like the files. Those are beyond the statute of limitations. So it shouldn't even be an issue right now.
you said that you support Bill Cosby.
Yes, I am not a racist in any kind of way.
So one moment. Bill Cosby was found guilty of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault for drugging and then former Temple University employee Andrea Costin. And you said that you support that guy?
Well, like 30 women came out after that. He settled in civil court because he didn't even want to go through the whole thing.
No. He literally admitted to buying sedatives to give to the woman that he wanted to have sex with. He admitted to that.
Well,
And you support
he
him?
probably
He
didn't have
admitted.
to.
Bill Cosby admitted to buying the sedatives to give to the woman.
He had enough money to just get the whole thing thrown out.
No,
So-
the reason why Cosby's conviction was overturned had nothing to do with the evidence, okay? It was all to do with the legal and procedural issues with how the prosecutors obtained and used the evidence. Do you know that?
Okay.
Yeah. You know how I just like told you that Bill Cosby like admitted to buying sedatives to give to a woman? Well, that was because one of the prosecutors told Cosby that they would not criminally charge him if he admitted to it.
Yeah, so he admitted to it just to get it out of the public and everything.
No,
He's
no, no,
got
no, no,
a
no, no.
reputation to uphold.
No. Oh
and-
my God. So you think that admitting to buying drugs to date rape somebody is making your reputation better?
Well, have you ever slipped a woman a Mickey?
I don't even know what that is, but no. Have you?
No,
Why did you ask me that question?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, what the fuck are you saying?
A lot of people used to do that back in the day.
A lot of men
Gay
used to rape
dudes
women.
try and
Wait,
slip
wait, wait,
me a
wait, wait, wait,
Mickey.
wait, 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 wait. You're saying that you support Bill Cosby even though he raped a woman because a lot of men used to rape women?
He settled out of court.
Wait, wait,
in civil
no.
court.
Is that what you just said? Did you just say that you support men who rape women because a lot of men used to rape a lot of women back in the day?
No, I don't support.
Wait. Then why did you
rapists.
ask me that question? I want you to perfectly describe in detail why you asked that question.
Can we move on to
No, we cannot
another-
move on. Describe in detail exactly why you asked me if I've ever slipped a woman a sedative.
Dude, I was just giving an example of what people have done to me, even women that fantasize about being raped by me.
I
And
don't know what the fuck that idiot's on. We're kicking him.